Good morning. I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about what prompts we will be using for the spring middle school writing assessments so that you have a heads up as to what kind of topics will be there so you have a chance to think about them for yourself before they come to your students. Before we do that, I'd just like to try to explain a little bit about our philosophy as we've been trying to pick these topics both for the fall and for the spring writing assessments. So as we thought about these writing topics, we wanted to pick topics that were more based in a content area rather than a topic that students would have readily have an opinion on. And so while these topics are argumentative and based in a social studies topic, they will open up to several different perspectives on that topic. At the same time, we've tried not to stay too deep into the content area that the topic's not widely accessible to our students. And so middle school teachers, social studies teachers, you might find that the topics are a little less what you might use in the classroom, not quite as detailed or as content driven. And English teachers, you might find, writing teachers, reading teachers, you might find that the topic is a little bit more driven by content that you might be used to. Hopefully we've tried to find a happy medium between these two so that we have folks using real world reading and writing skills, reading topics that are real world topics, but that they're also able to accomplish those at the level that they're at. So let's move on to our three topics. We're sixth grade. Our sixth grade teachers are working in Africa, and as they talk about Africa, we know that in the news we hear a lot about the things that are wrong with Africa. We hear a lot about Ebola and war and all those things, and we might come to think that that's pretty much all that's going on in Africa. But there's quite a different story going on in Africa today. And so we want to think also about how can we open students' minds up a little bit to the things that are going on that are good. And so we might think about this topic, should the world give more money to solve Africa's problems? And that'll really open itself up to two topics, 2 points of view. One is, what happens when we do give money? Is it being used properly? Does it go to what it needs to go to? Or does it cause unintended consequences? And the second one is, are there better ways to help? There might be many other ways to help Africa besides the world sending more money over to governments. Or things that are already happening right now that are causing a lot of progress that could be supported. And so this prompt, should the world give more money to solve Africa's problems, might be reworded a little bit, but it's a pretty meaty topic for these sixth graders, something that they should be able to enter into after doing a little bit of work in their sixth grade social studies classrooms. Our seventh grade topic, should the United States celebrate Columbus Day? We have our seventh grade teachers. They're going to be entering into the Latin America part of their year, and one of their topics is going to be to explore what are the effects of European exploration and colonization of Latin America. And so they'll be talking with their students about Columbus's discovery of the New World and how that process changed the world, both in Europe, in the Old World, and the New World. They're also going to be bringing out to their students that the impact of European contact with these New World peoples was devastating for them. And so this topic really becomes a cost-benefit kind of topic as we look at the legacy of this event and the legacy of colonialism. Is it something that should be celebrated, something that should be recognized and talked about but not made a holiday, or is it something that we should say this is the big event of our civilization and it needs to stay on that calendar in October as a U.S. holiday? So we're entering into this topic about the legacy of the impact of Columbus by discussing this holiday of Columbus Day. And finally, as we thought about our 8th grade students, they've spent a lot of time learning about American government and the foundation of American government. We wanted to emphasize for them and give them an opportunity to take advantage of that knowledge, but also to recognize that a citizen of the United States is a citizen that participates. And so, in order to leverage their understanding of democracy and republic in the United States, and also to keep the content something that is accessible to everyone, we're going to experiment with this topic of should citizens be required to vote. We recognize the United States citizens, especially our younger citizens, 18 to 25, they really participate in democracy at an alarmingly low rate. Our younger citizens just don't participate very much, and there are many ways to participate in our government other than voting, and this topic might bring out some of those things, some other ways to participate besides just voting. There are many countries in the world that have mandatory voting laws. Some of them don't punish people for not voting, they just are laws on the books. 11 countries actually punish people for not voting. In some ways, they can show up. They don't even have to mark a vote on their ballot, but they do have to show up to vote. And there are a lot of pro and con sources out there that explore the effects of this kind of law that our students could analyze. And so it would really come down to, would requiring people to vote improve U.S. democracy? And that, at surface level, that might not seem like a meaty topic. We might think about what happens when 40% of the people vote, how much money is spent on commercials and ads to get people out to vote, how many conflicts there are about voter laws, who can vote and who can't vote, what kind of ID you need to have. All these conflicts are trying to sort of control who votes and who doesn't vote, or influence who votes and who doesn't vote. What happens if everyone votes? How would that change our elections? So there's a lot of possibilities with that topic. So overall, we'd just like for you to think about those topics, and we'll be exploring the possibilities for pro-cons on each side so that we can bring grade level materials to the students for them to read for the stimulus materials. This is our timeline for implementation of the middle school writing assessment. We anticipate that we can have all material, source material, and packets delivered to buildings by February 26th. Buildings would make sure that those resources are delivered to social studies teachers by the next day. By March 2nd and 3rd, our social studies teachers will be implementing the reading of the source material in their classes. They'll be gathered together like last time and grouped by writing teacher and passed on to the writing teacher for 2 days of writing. And then buildings will proctor makeup tests on March 6th. We'll collect those and proceed with scoring and analyzing the results. Thank you very much for your time and for looking at these topics. If you feel passionately about any of them or have sources for them, feel free to talk to Jana Baker or Brian Schultz. We'd love to talk to you about these. And thank you very much.